You can, well, it's okay. You can start now. I
Okay.
won't make, it's fine. I won't make any of my announcements or comments for a couple more minutes. I'm just taking roll. I think I mentioned why I'm starting this 5 minutes early. I have a class right after this class. So I wanted to give us at least an hour to go over stuff if needed. And then I am definitely going to make some comments about the Chem 101. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. First comment I have is about the Chem 101. I went and analyzed the 101 practices versus the test that followed the practice. For instance, you guys, I gave you a practice on the chapter 10 part, which was calorimetry and Hess's law. And then I gave you your first 20 points of this test 5 coming up on calorimetry and Hess's law. What I noticed, and this is not just your class, it's basically for all of my classes, that there were students that did not even do the practice at all, yet they made perfect scores on the test part, if that makes sense. And then there were students that did try the practice. Oh, let me back up. Those students that made perfect scores were not passing this class before this happened. Some of my good students, A students, did do the practices, made maybe, I'm making up a number, 6 out of 8. I'm just making up something. And then they missed a couple points on the test number 5, chapter 10 part. You can probably gather what I'm going to summarize.
Okay, just
that's not going to happen on this next part because Morris here created the questions on Chem 101. And after you take that test 5 gas law part, yes, you should try the practice. I think I looked and I think only one of you, and I don't know who, even tried the practice on gas laws on Chem 101. Only one. Now, I'm looking at that as I record your test grades. And there's going to be another, this is going to be the last test on Chem 101, thank God. You're going to have to submit your work neatly on the assignment folder D2L, and I'll have it like show your work test 5. I don't know how, I haven't even named it. I haven't even put it on there yet. But you're going to have to, as soon as you finish that test on Chem 101, you have to submit to the assignment folder. No delay, no time delay. Oh, I apologize for my dog. It's garbage day. Sorry. She'll calm down in a minute. I hope.
Oh, just there are, sorry for interruption. There are another instructor, they give like 10 minutes to submit the test on DTL.
Oh yeah, 10 or 15 minutes will be fine.
Yeah, Bevan, he did that for my classmate. And there's another thing for me, I took it the practice, but I didn't see practice for the gas law practice. I seen just for this test, I see just the test part. I didn't see any practice before. And I can send you screenshot of my Team 01 is say my practice complete and my test complete, just the
Okay,
this
hold on.
Mhm.
Could somebody in the class verify that? Let's back it up a little bit. I really don't want to take away from your lecture time on answering questions, but for calorimetry and Hess's law, not only did I send you guys email practices, I put on Chem 101 under practice, it said
okay.
test for chapter 10 parts, something like that. Could somebody verify that that was
Yes, yes, we put it there and I took that a practice. It was the seventh question, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. I found it. Sorry about that. It's confusing Chem 01 to me. Sorry.
And guess what?
Wait,
There's practice on gas laws too.
I remember I
Yeah.
was the one actually a question about something I couldn't do. About the last question in there. Now I remember it was me. I asked a question about it.
Right. And didn't I send an email to the class and I said,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Francois. I
Yeah.
just going crazy with
Sorry.
everything I'm doing.
Yeah. Just sorry. Just I have your practice for last year. I have copy and I do the practice on the paper. Like I have. You remember in your office, I told you
I
have
don't want any submissions of any of your work.
Yeah.
For now. No, it's done. It's done.
Oh.
I cannot look at it now. I'm just saying, let me say now, since we have a few more people, hold on a sec. I am so sorry.
Okay, sound good. Thank you. No problem.
Hold on. Make sure I've got everybody here. Okay, let me make this announcement again. I'm not even going to go into Chem 101. Your test number 5, slated gas laws, will be published, if that's the word, starting Friday. And you will have through the weekend until Monday morning at 8:30. Well, you better start it at 7:30 because I'm giving no more than 50 minutes or an hour. Morris here picked 3 or 4 questions from Chem 101, but then I created my own questions. And my own questions, you have to work it out and you put an answer in. I've already put the unit there for you. As soon as you finish that, say I give an hour or 50 minutes, as soon as you finish that, within 15 minutes, I want that work, nice and neat, your work, and the number, like number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever, submitted to an assignments folder that I haven't even created or labeled yet. It'll probably be assignment, show your work, test 5. I haven't even titled or created it yet. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Because this time, I will know if you're doing your own work.
I've got a question about that.
Okay, I'm going to say the same thing, Felicia, in 1122, but go ahead.
Okay. So is it going to be like a time test, or is it just going to be one of those like practices where we write the answer?
No, timed.
Okay.
Timed. I think I've almost finished it. I think there will be no more than 10 questions. Not all of them are word problems. Okay, 9 or 10 questions. Some are worth 2 points, some are worth 3 points, some are worth 4 points. I think I've totaled it to 30 points. That percent will be the percent out of 80 And then I'm going to add it to your 20, if that makes sense, to get your test 5 grade. Are y'all following what I'm trying to say?
Okay, just a question about the, like, we submit just for math problem or even the multiple choices, like.
Oh yeah, no, the multiple choice, no. It's just, I want to see it
Okay.
worked out. If it's a PV equals nRT or a diffusion one, I want to see it worked out, which that reminds me. See, none of you
Okay.
have even looked at the gas law practice yet. And in Chem 101, they call Graham's law of effusion with an E, not diffusion. It's the same thing. So I thought I'd point that out.
If I'm being honest, I didn't even know that Chem 101 had practice. I'm sure you said it at some point, but I thought it only had quizzes.
No, it should have tabs at the top.
Yeah, I found the practice as soon as you said it today, but I really didn't know that.
The whole reason, Marshall, I was submitting practices before these things is so y'all would be able to practice how you enter the numbers, how you use their little, it's not even a calculator. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would have
Okay.
been helpful because I think that's why I missed a bunch of those questions. Is
It
just
probably was, and maybe you missed that Zoom lecture that I went over it. Sorry. But maybe you won't miss it now. Do any of you have another question before I start? I have no new lecture for gas laws. On Friday, if the questions stop, I will start the next chapter. There are only 4 areas of chapter 12, and all 4 areas have a question on your final exam. And I have written notes. Oh, I don't have it with me. I looked at that final exam and I have written notes. Student needs to know how to do a limiting reactant, a percent yield, a percent purity, and I'm going to email that out. Okay? But I wasn't going to do anything until Friday. Y'all have to finish this test 5 first. Hold on, sorry. One new person just came in. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So since we're going to be submitting what we've done, like written for the second part of test number 5,
Correct.
are we going to get partial credit? Like if we
It
got it wrong,
depends.
but
It depends. If it's a 3-point problem or a 4-point problem, I'll be honest, Sarah, I'm mainly wanting to see that the student did the work. But
yeah, I get
let's say, for instance, I'm just making up something. My answer was 112 milliliters, and you put 11.2 milliliters, and then I see in your work, oh my gosh, it was a decimal error. Yeah, I may go back and give partial credit. It's going to be work on my part to look at all the work. Yes, it will. But I am some of my A students are not doing as well, but I know that they're trying. And some of my students that were not doing well are making perfect on all these things. And I just want to verify. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I was just wondering.
It's fine, Sarah. Thank you for asking. Okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. Oh, happy Earth Day. Yeah. Happy Earth Day.
Thank you.
Okay. I will start. Oh, and again, I apologize. I'm repeating myself. I think somebody in this class asked for me to please check the Hess's Law problem involving strontium. And I did, and I emailed to the class. I want to know, do any of you, are you still not sure about how to do that problem? Because there is a Hess's Law problem on your final exam. Did y'all get that email where I said you got to flip? What was it? You have to flip. Well, here it is, real quick. They gave these 2 reactions and these 2 numbers, and then this was the goal. because strontium oxide is on the left, you had to flip this reaction. If you flip that reaction, you had to change the sign. I'm pretty sure you had to flip the second one. So when you add them, your oxygen canceled, you get your goal, and you simply add those numbers up. There is a problem on your final exam like this. That's the only reason I brought it up. By the way, guys, this last month, I haven't taught you anything that you're not going to get on either the test 5 or your final. So you have to stay with me or do these practices as I say, try these practices, or you're going to get behind. The final's going to be here, not next week, but the next week. This class is scheduled to take it that first Monday. You are going to get a 24-hour period. It will be located on D2L. Your class, PO1. I will send an email about the instructions later. Now,
I mean, not like the Hanavluk, the exam, the final exam will be like
oh,
on
no,
Zoom?
no. It will be proctored.
By Zoom or the Hanavluk?
Honor lock.
Okay, what's about if I don't have camera for my PC? I use like iPad.
You are the only one so far now, because the other student that said they weren't capable, did you go and try it? Did you go into that link on that email I sent and see if your hardware and software is sufficient to do a proctored exam? Did you try it yet?
Yeah. Someone called me from the campus and she filled the application for me to help me.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to email Paul Ramp that your name, your P number, and you need a webcam.
Okay.
You know, how they fix it, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Okay. Before I start answering questions, I have no new lecture stuff to go over. I'm just going to sum up. To do gas laws, there are 6 main formulas. Yes, they have names. This one is called the ideal gas law or the ideal gas equation. If you use PV equals nRT and you know R as 0.0821 liter atmosphere over mole Kelvin, which I'll write that number in a minute, you must be in ATM, you must be in liters, you must be in moles, and you must be in Kelvin. How would the student know they're using that? Well, if they give you one pressure, one volume, and say the amount of gas, you have to solve for temperature. So they're giving you one of everything except one variable. Now, let's compare it to this one. PV over T equal PV over T. That's called the combined gas law. The only requirement on that one is temperature must be in Kelvin. How would the student know they need this one for the word problem? They give you 2 different volumes or 2 different temperatures. They don't give you just one, they give you 2 different. So you have to use this one. How would the student know they need this one? They ask for what is the density of a particular gas at STP. You figure out the molar mass and you divide by the standard molar volume, which is 22.4. If in a word problem it says collected over water, the first thing you do is you've got to correct that pressure for the gas that's been collected. You take the barometric pressure minus the water vapor pressure to get this, and then you may have to convert it to ATM. How would the student know they need this one? Well, you're going to read a mixture of gases exert a total pressure, that's this PT here, total pressure. They give you grams, 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 3 gases, change it to moles, 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 add them up, and then you use this formula. This one here is the Graham's law of diffusion. Chem 101 calls it Graham's law of effusion. Why I'm bringing that up, one of the questions that I selected said, how much faster will neon effuse, big word E-F-F-U-S-E, compared to sulfur trioxide? Okay, well, it's how much faster will neon move compared to sulfur trioxide. It's just another word. The first gas you read in the word problem goes on the top here. The second gas you read goes here. It is an inverse of their molar masses, and don't forget the square root. This is the gas laws. 6 formulas. Now, I will say, for your final exam, you can't have those formulas. You have to know them. There are 3 concepts for this kinetic molecular theory of gases. Kinetic just means motion. Gas molecules move. They move all the time. And if you increase the temperature on them, the molecules are going to move faster. If you decrease the temperature, they're going to slow down. That's a concept. If you increase pressure, high pressure on a gas, you probably have a liquid or a solid. And if you decrease temperature, low temperature on a gas, because the motion of the molecules are moving so slow, you probably have liquefied it, or you could have a solid. The last concept that I taught on Monday, if you have a reaction and you balance it, and you're given a volume of a gas at certain conditions, and they simply want to know the volume of a gas on the other side at those same conditions, you're allowed to use a mole ratio on that volume. Now, when you cannot do that is if you're comparing a gas to, say, a liquid or a gas to a solid. You're not allowed to do it that way. Okay, that's the summary. Questions, and it can be over practice 1, practice 2, or the old test from last summer. Or it can be from your lab manual. I think y'all are supposed to be doing the gas saw problems from the lab manual.
I was having
Questions?
problems with
I got
number
a
1
question.
as
Okay,
well.
hold on. Eric, go ahead.
I just on number 1 on practice 2. I was having trouble setting that up.
Number 1 on practice 2.
The how many liters of oxygen collected over water?
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen to read the problem to everybody, and then I'll set it up, okay? Let me just find it. Let's see which one it is. It's this one. You said this one, right? How many liters of oxygen collected over water and measured at a temperature?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that one? Okay. Where's my paper? Sorry. Do you see the collected over water?
Yeah.
You see the phrase collected over water? I'm going to have to take, hold on, let me write it. Let me just write it, and then I'll hold my paper up. If it says collected over water, my total pressure is the big number given. My water vapor pressure was the little number given. I'm going to have to say this minus that to get my pressure of oxygen. That's step 1. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to look, cheat a little bit because I won't have to write all this stuff out. Okay, so I just figured out the pressure of oxygen. Okay, 1 down, 2 more to go.
Hey, you have like a small little screen. Like, is there any way you can like make yourself bigger so we can
Okay,
see?
well, let me finish reading this problem, then I'll unshare or stop the share, and then I'll hold this paper up.
All right.
I just converted the pressure. The temperature is going to have to be converted to Kelvin. Let me just write it up, and then I'll. Let's see, what's my temperature? Okay, I give you moles of potassium nitrate, but guess what? That's not the gas. You're going to have to write a reaction. You're going to have to write a reaction and get the moles of the oxygen. I'll do that in a minute. So I'm going to stop the share. Okay. I corrected, when it said collected over water, I took my total pressure equal my pressure of oxygen plus the water vapor pressure. So I subtracted this number from that one. I get that. I converted it to ATM. I took my temperature. I added 273.15. I get my temperature. The only other information they gave me in the problem was moles of potassium nitrate. Okay, so let me write it. I've got to write my reaction. Potassium nitrate with heat will liberate oxygen, but it forms potassium nitrite. That is called a decomposition. Not all the oxygen goes off, but some of it does in the form of diatomic oxygen. I'm going to have to go back and balance. So let me balance. It's a 2 here, a 2 here. Now it's balanced. It gave me in that problem 1.245 moles, of the potassium nitrate. So I'm going to do a mole ratio to get to my oxygen. Let me write it, and then I'll hold my paper up. So let's have it. Okay. This was my reaction. I balanced. They gave me this 1.245 moles of this. That's not a gas. The number one mistake is a student will plug this in for N. That's not the gas. You have to do a mole ratio to get the moles of oxygen, which is the N. And then you write your PV equals nRT, and you're solving for V. You plug in your moles here. Your R is a constant. Your temperature I just did on that paper. Temperature was 297.2. The pressure was 0.9686, and you get your answer. It should have been something like 15.68.
I guess my fault. I don't know what R would be at that point.
Oh, R is always R. Here,
so that number never changes. That's always the same. What was it? 0.8 something?
0.0821.
Okay. So R is always point.
R is always this number.
Okay.
If you're using these units.
Okay. I thought that had to be like that changed over things. Okay.
No, there. If you go and look in some textbooks, they report R with different numerical values. But if you look at the unit, it might be instead of liter atmosphere, it might be liter torr over mole Kelvin.
So that was 0.0821.
0.0821 is the R you guys are going to use here.
What were the units? It was liters. Was it mole liters over ATMs?
No.
Make sure I got
Here,
that.
wait a minute. Gosh, I don't want to.
Liters of atmosphere over moles Kelvin.
Right.
Thank you.
Do I need to write it up?
No, that's fine.
Okay, it's 0.0821. And the top part of the unit is liter atmosphere. The bottom part of unit is mole Kelvin.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fine.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
I got a question about practice number 1. Practice 1 number 5.
number 5. Okay, let me get it. Does it read what volume of ammonia can be prepared? Number 5, sorry. So 6 grams of helium, 16 grams of oxygen, and 39.95 grams of argon?
Yeah. I convert them to mole, and then I think I do everything right, but my answer does not match the one you have.
Let me ask you this, Francois. When you took the 16 grams of oxygen,
Yeah.
what'd you divide by?
32.
Okay, so you have 0.5 moles of that.
Yeah.
You took 6 grams of helium, what'd you divide by?
By 4.01.
Okay, so you got about 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay, the 39.95 grams of argon, what'd you divide by?
39.991.
Okay, so you got about a mole, 1?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so 1.5 plus 0.5 plus 1 is 3 moles.
Yeah.
You totaled them up.
Yeah.
Okay, did you change your 3.50 atmospheres to millimeters of mercury?
I did it somewhere in another piece of paper, but I think I did, but I could find it.
Well, here, I'll just set up the one. You tell me which one you want me to set up, the helium, oxygen, or the argon?
Any one of them.
Okay,
would
let's
be good.
do the helium.
All right.
Okay, watch this. So the moles of helium, you got about 1.50. And the total moles was 3.00. Okay, the total pressure in the problem was given as 3.50 atmospheres, but they
Yeah.
want it in millimeters of mercury. So I have to multiply that by 760.
Yeah, I think it was a big number.
It is a big number. It's 2.66 times 10 to the third. Let me just,
Where are you getting the numbers that you're dividing by?
here, look, this is the formula. The
Yeah.
partial pressure of helium to the total pressure, but they don't want 3.5. They want it
Okay.
converted to millimeters of mercury. Is equal to the moles of helium to the total moles.
Okay. Okay. Huh. I think I set it up almost like that because like sometimes I watch some videos on YouTube about how to set them up. I think that's why I messed up because I do everything the same way because I convert them to the mole ratio. I changed it from ATM to
Okay,
everything.
okay, watch this trick. Let's say you did it, hold on, just, I don't mean to confuse. Watch this. Hold on, let me do it on my calculator and then I'll hold it up. I think I know what you're saying. Okay, let's say a student prefers to do it this way. The partial pressure of helium to, let's do 3.5 atmospheres.
Yeah.
Okay, follow. Mole ratio, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
You get your atmospheres. Now you convert it to millimeters of mercury. You're still going to get that number.
Okay. Okay, I think I get it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. What I recommend, if you do it that way, you have to convert 3 times. If you go ahead and convert the total pressure at the beginning, you've already got that number.
Okay.
Okay. All right, 2 down. Another question. Anybody?
Nobody else is. Can I ask number 2 on that practice 2? I keep getting 0.6, well, 0.79 instead of 0.562.
Oh, I'm sorry, practice
It's
2.
yeah,
Okay.
it's the iodine diffusion.
Oh, well, did you say iodine was diatomic?
Nope, that'd be why.
Well, there we go.
See, that was easy. I figured it was something stupid like that, like just something that I was missing. Thank you.
Well, there we go. Now you should get the 0.562.
Yeah, that's the something cold beer, whatever it is for the 7 diatomics.
Yeah, have no fear of ice cold beer. Yep, that wasn't my creation. Here's my creation. This is what I would do. Chart. Okay, wait. Find the 7. Nitrogen. Form a 7. And then remember hydrogen. Those are your diatomics.
Oh, okay. That's actually that's pretty easy. Okay. And for that problem too, it would be the sulfur trioxides on top because that's the second one listed.
For the molar mass?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be like
And
square
that's
root of.
why I purposely did that, because you're not going to get a number above 1.
Yeah.
You're going to get a number like 0.562. That's telling you iodine is heavier and it moves half as fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, another question. That was, yeah, practice 2. Anyway. You still, I don't know that I need to send you any more practices. Geez, I've sent practice 1, practice 2, and an old test. Now, granted, that old test does have at the end calorimetry and Hess's law, but that's good practice for your final because you have one of each of those on your final. But then I created a 9 or 10 question practice on Chem 101. So you can see, so you can practice the format of how you're going to have to enter these answers. And they're using, I avoided, like, a lot of their questions were like, what does Charles' law compare? Or here's a formula, what's the name of the law? I avoided that. That's not on your final. You can do any and all gas law problems with those 6 that I summed up at the beginning of this class. Now you tell me what else, what other stuff you need. We're down to the wire, meaning you've got this last part of test 5. I still have to go over 4 parts of chapter 12, which I can finish on Friday, but I'm going to purposely not do the math because y'all are going to be taking a gas law math test. Then I've sent you, and I didn't bring it up here, I printed it out and it's downstairs, practice final student copy, practice final with the answers. Those are good representative kind of multiple choice questions for your final exam. It does not include the more recent stuff, chapter 10 or gas laws, because you're getting that now. And then I am going to email all of my classes a list of topics or concepts that are on their respective finals, like metric conversions, 2 significant figure, 2 electron configuration, 2 quantum number, whatever. I'm going to break it down so you know what you need to go back and study.
Question about like the practice final. It's not like 50 questions.
Right. I only did 28, 29.
Okay.
But the final will have 50 on it.
Okay.
Y'all can go back and look at the practice midterm I sent you, before and do that for your early stuff.
Okay. I thinking about that before you tell me. I will back to the midterm.
Because it is multiple choice.
Yeah.
And I know that it's 50 questions and you get an hour and 50 minutes or 100.
Like we can, last night just I watched video on YouTube how this like thing work, the honor, and like we can use scratch paper, like how it works.
You're going to have to, when you start, you're going to have to show them your ID, your calculator, your periodic table,
Oh,
your
okay.
scrap paper. They're going to want you to take your camera or whatever and go around the room to make sure there's nobody there. Yeah, it's a proctored exam.
Yeah.
That should really
Are
be.
they going to be able to like talk to you?
Is it? I'm sorry. What, Marshall?
Are they going to be able to like talk to you? Like, are they? You know what I mean? Like, are they just going to like give us a list of instructions on where to point our camera? Or are they going to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think if you go, did you go to the honor lock, the email that I sent?
not yet.
Well, you need to do that. Once you go to that, it's midway. Once you click on the honor lock link, about midway down after you get to their site, it'll ask some questions and let you know if you are, what's the word, capable of having the exam proctored on your computer.
Mhm.
And if you're not, you need to email me. I have to send an email to Dr. Ramp, like I should have done this already. So guys, you need to check that. It was an email forwarded from me. Well, forwarded, Paul Ramp is the person. Don't reply to him. Reply to me. I've got a list that I'm going to send him. And then the school, like Abdullah's already done it, the school contacts you and asks you questions. It will be located on your Chemistry 1110 PO1 D2L site, probably under quizzes.
And
And it will be called, Chemistry 11. I'm sorry, what?
the student who has physics class, fundamental of engineering 1, they did the same.
They get what the same?
They
The
use
same-
the same program.
The same link. They say, hey,
Okay.
we will
Okay.
do final. Do you need like stuff?
Right.
Mm.
Right.
But to answer the question, yes, there are people watching your camera and they will speak to you. One of my engineering teachers explained it to me. If they hear sound in your room or somebody walk through your video, they'll come up on your screen and say, hey, I want to see what's going on.
Oh, thank you, Nick, because I've never taken a proctored exam. I have a student in my 1120, her kids are at UT and they've already done some of the proctored exams. And so she sort of knows what's going to happen. But it's going to be something new. Just be prepared with scrap paper, a chart, a calculator that's correct. It can't be a graphing calculator, guys. I don't know if they're going to say, hold up your cell phone and turn it off. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to say, but they are going to have you show the 360 around you, that you don't have a book open and stuff like that.
When, do you expect it like not this Monday after the final?
Right. Because you guys are slated to take it Monday, May 4th at 8 to 10 in the morning. That was the original final exam timing. Y'all are going to be given, I think, a 24-hour period from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. Tuesday. But once you start it, you get an hour and 50 minutes.
So we can take it any time of the day or at night during that.
On that Monday, yeah, I think so. I'll find out.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Okay.
Dr. Veith is the one, I created the final, but she's the one in charge of placing at different spots. There are two versions, an A and a B. So, but there,
When did you send the email for the honor lock so I can find it? I can't bring it back up. Like what day? Do you know?
it was sometime almost a week ago.
Okay.
But do you guys need me to find it and forward it to you today again?
That would be great.
Please.
Okay, let me write that down. And I need to know ASAP because I'm sending that email to him later today. Okay, I wrote that to remind myself to do that. Okay, another question. Again, you need to do practice 1 first, practice 2 second. Then I would do Chem 101, practice gas laws. And then I would do the old test. It's called Practice for Test 5, Chapter 10 Heat, and Chapter 11. I would do that just, this one is for just more practice. If you can do practice 1 and 2 and the Chem 101, you should be sufficient for your test. But if you wanted additional practice and for the final exam, yes, do this old test. I probably have 20 old tests, but I know y'all are taking other classes and or you're working and or you have toddlers at your feet. So I didn't want to overwhelm you. I think I've taught enough of this. So if you do the first 2 practices in Chem 101, you should be fine.
By the way, that email was sent on April 16th.
Thank you so much, Nick. Reagan, April 16th. I will
Thank you.
I will still forward that email. Well, I don't know. Do I need to now, guys? Because that'll put yet another email in your box, won't it? Do y'all still want me to forward it?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay, I will forward it. Any other questions or one here? Let me find them. Here. These are the main laws. PV equals nRT, combined gas law, gas density at STP. If it says collected over water, if this says a mixture of 2 or 3 or 4 gases exert a total pressure, you got to do this. We're going to give you grams, grams, grams. You're going to have to convert to moles. Graham's law of diffusion or effusion. The lighter the gas, the faster it will move. When you're reading the word problem, the first gas you read goes on the top. Therefore, its molar mass goes on the bottom. Do not forget the square root. Questions?
I have a question. If we were in class, like I assume you would provide us with those formulas, right?
No. There are some semesters I allow an index card, and there's some semesters that I do not. I will say for your test 5, yeah, you may have this. You may have the practice out for Chem 101. You're going to only have 50 minutes. But for your final exam, you can't have this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the test 5 on Chem 101, go for it. But I've created the problems where I know the timing, and you've got to show me your work. If you're flipping through papers to look up problems, you're not going to finish the test. And I don't want any emails about extensions. No, I'm starting it Friday after this class ends, and you're going to have through the weekend, Monday till about 8:30. Well, say 7:30, because you've got to, you know, if I give you less than an hour, there will only be not even 10 problems, probably 8 or 9.
So it's gonna be you said 40 to 50 minutes to do the test, and then an extra 10 minutes or 15 minutes after that to upload the work thing on D2L.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, let me write that note because I've got to create the D2L. It'll be under assignments. And you're just uploading pictures of your work. Please try to be neat. Number them 1, 2, 3, whatever.
And then you said I'm just wanna remember something. You said our lab grade will bump our grade up by 7%, right?
If your lab grade, oh, well, here's a little side note. I don't even know if I should be saying this. There have been probably at least 4 people caught cheating in lab now with report sheets and homework sheets. So they're undergoing disciplinary action. But anyway, if your lab grade is an A or B, it tends to bring up a grade by about 6 or 7%. Now, that's not like, say your lab grade's an A and you already have an A. No, I'm talking about, say a student has a 68, that's a D, but their lab grade's an A, well, they already have a C. Did that answer your question, Francois?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And about the test, like in the first 2 tests, I have 68, but if I have in the second 2 tests, my grade is high, would help me, right?
I'm still going to drop your lowest test grade.
Okay. Just because I remember you told me if I didn't get A in this test, I will not pass the class.
Well, I have no idea. I don't know what your lab grade is. And the final, hey guys, you had a midterm too, right? And I don't have my grade book up here, but I don't recall the class average on that midterm, but that's a big chunk of points. Activities are a big chunk of points. Your final exam average is typically, I mean, for 1110, it's not over 70 for sure. It's low. It's usually 58 to 62. It's 200-point test. I'm just saying. I'm still dropping your lowest test grade out of test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm taking your best 5 activity grades. I've given to date 7. So I'm going to take the best 5. That's out of 100 possible points. The midterm was, I believe, out of 50 possible points. So that's 150 points. Yeah. And then I'm just going to, at the end, I'll add them all up. Oh, they did extend. Usually grades are due by, let me get my calendar again. In a normal semester, the grades would have been due by May 8th. They've extended it to May 11th because they know we have to grade stuff online. So don't be expecting your grade on that Friday.
Do you have an idea about the class average now?
Do I know what the class average is now?
Yeah, maybe.
No, sorry.
It's okay.
And just looking at your class, if I had to award grades now, there would be 3 people with an A, and then they just would trickle down. I mean, I still have some of the students are still doing well. You can go to your D2L, guys, and you could estimate your grade now. What you could do is you've got 4 test grades finished. Drop 1. Okay, so then that's 300 points. Take your best 5 activities, and that's out of 100. And then take your midterm, and that's out of 50. And then take your lab. I don't know how, are y'all still working on the very last lab, the gas constant part?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the lab points now are close to 200. So say 250, 350, 650. Take all your points and divide by 650, and that's your grade right now. That'd be about right. So that's a good estimate. If you want to predict, hey, where am I in class now? Add up all your tests, add up all your your best 5 activities, add up your lab points to date, add that midterm score, and then divide by 650. That's a good predictor of where you stand right now.
I am like almost 70, 75.
Okay. You still have test 5, and you still, well, the other part of test 5, and then your final.
So do you already grade the chapter 10 on Chem 101?
No, I did grade it. Yes, I did. And a lot of you, it's like a miracle. 7 out of 7. And you didn't even do the practice.
That's not me. I don't think so, because I do the practice and I got stuck and I asked you for help. And
No, that's fine. I get it. I get that those that did the practice. I mean, I don't even want to repeat what I said at the beginning. But what I did, 7 out of 7 is 100%. 100% of 20 points. I gave you a 20. I have not added that to the 80 part yet because y'all haven't taken that yet. So like if you got a 6 out of 7, just whatever it is, 6 out of 7, that's 86%. And then I said out of 20, then that's a 17 out of 20. Are y'all following how I'm doing this? I'll know your test 5 grade by Wednesday of next week. Here's why. If the student takes it on Friday or Saturday or even Sunday, then I might have their grade done by Monday. But if you wait till Sunday after, say, noon, I'm probably going to be looking at the others that have already been submitted and grading theirs.
Mine said 18 out of 20. Is that 80 point out of 20, or is it like was it like 50-50 or is 20-80?
Oh yeah, I had 7 questions, but they were 20 points. Yeah, so
Okay.
it gave you a grade out of 20. Yeah, so that is out of 20. I was just going by the question, how many questions. You're right. I had assorted points on that. I did, and it added to 20.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else have a question about gas laws?
No, thank you. I'm leaving the meeting. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. On Friday, guys, I'll do last chance kind of questions on gas laws, but I will probably do at least 2 or 3 parts of, at least 2 parts of chapter 12 that involve no math. It's just a concept. One is a picture. One is a picture that I'm going to teach you how to label. That is a question on your final exam. So it's not going to be that stressful. It's not going to be that terrible, but I want to try to get ahead. So I can at least have a day or 2 the next week to review with you guys. Okay, my dog is probably going to start barking because the garbage truck. Maybe not. Maybe she's napping. Okay. Oh, I know something I can show y'all. Can I share the screen real quick? Watch this.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Here we go. There's my dog flying on her broom. Y'all see it?
I love it.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
somebody asked me this yesterday and I couldn't get it off my computer fast enough, but yeah, she's flying. There she goes. Okay. Well, isn't that sweet? Oh, well, happy Earth Day. Y'all study. Have some questions ready for me on Friday. I'll send that email. I'll try to find it now and send it before my next class. Felicia, you can stop the recording. Thank you very much for doing this.
You're welcome.
And I will see y'all on